In this video for the KCAD Digital Art and Design Augmented Reality Framework, I'm going to go over using multiple targets. That is, using more than one image target asset to trigger multiple videos within the same application. So we'll start out by creating our new assets and preparing them in the correct places within our application folder. So we'll start with a new image target. I have here our original KCAD building image target from the initial example, and then I also have our K-Spark from our last using the framework example, and I like to combine these into the same image target asset. Now we just need to go back to our image targets compiler from Mind AR, and this has the built-in capability to combine multiple images into a single Mind file. So here I'll pull the Finder up, move it down a bit, you can just drag them into there. Now I could just add these one at a time, but it also allows me to drag multiple images at the same time into this box. And once it loads the images, we want to take a mental note of the order in which they're added from the left to the right. And later on, we'll identify these with an index number counting up, starting at 0 from the left. So this current KCAD building will have an index of 0, and this K-Spark image will have an index of 1. And we'll use that to tell which video to be associated with which image inside of the code. So I just have to hit start now after we've added our two images. Wait for the progress to complete, and then it does the same thing as before, and we went through this with this image in our image asset video, where it creates different scales, which helps with the AR engine to recognize and track the video on top of the image target. Now we added more than one image, so there's now another tab over here for the other image that's also included. And there's even more scale versions. There's actually 12 of them. So it must have to do with the size of the source image, how many different scales that it automatically creates, as this source image was a bit larger than this one. But nicely, it's the exact same process as one image. Once we add more than one image into that initial drag and drop tray, we can still just download compiled, and it downloads a single targets.mind file. So to use multiple image targets then, in our example, we're just going to now copy our newly downloaded targets.mind file. We can go into our AR Framework folder, into our web, examples, AR image, video, assets folder. And now we can just paste and overwrite this targets.mind file. And there we go. The new image asset is ready to go with two targets in the same file. Now I want to add our second video in here. So we have our original video here that I'm going to go ahead and rename to asset 1. And then go back and grab my KCAD DLC video here. And I'm going to rename this asset 2.mp4. Now I will copy this, go back into my web examples AR image video assets folder, paste this item in. So I now have both videos and a single image target asset ready to go. Now from here, now we can make a couple of changes to the actual code to account for there being more than one asset and target video now. So make sure that you have Visual Studio Code open. I actually still have the file open, but we'll go ahead and show you where it is. So inside of this same KCAD AR Framework, web, examples, AR images, AR image video, this index.html. Now, I want to be sure that you don't accidentally grab this index.html, which is in the root of our web folder. This is what launches the splash screen and sets up a lot of the parameters for the web app. we're looking for the actual AR example inside of this examples AR image video folder and this index.html file. So you can drag this onto your Visual Studio Code or just open Visual Studio Code and open this file with it, and you'll end up with this code here. The initial example code is set up to use a single image target and a single video, and I'm going to show you how we can edit this to add more videos and use our multiple image target. Now, there are 3 separate areas where we're going to make changes, and we'll have an area up here at the top which will control the videos playing and pausing as the image targets are recognized and then lost from the view of the application. And we'll have an area where we initialize our video file and give it some parameters. And then we'll have an area where we actually initialize our specific target and tell it which video we want to associate with that target, have some parameters in there as well. So we're actually going to start at the bottom because I think that's a little easier as we start duplicating and renaming things to understand exactly what we're putting together. So we're going to begin by just using this example to show how we can have 2 different image target video pairs. This can really be multiplied to copy things more than once to create as many target video pairs as you would like in your application. So I'm going to start by copying this entire entity tag area. Now again, this tag comes from the A-Frame JavaScript framework, and there's some other elements of it from the Mind AR JavaScript framework, and they do all the heavy lifting for us and expose to us this HTML-like syntax to be able to put together some very complicated functionality. So we're going to select this entire entity, make sure that you get the beginning of the entity tag all the way through the end of the A-entity tag. I'm just going to copy this, put an extra space there so it's a little easy to see the separation, and paste another copy in there. Now we have 2 copies of the exact same one, and there's certain elements that we're going to want to change to make room for there to be 2 separate targets and 2 separate videos, mostly just the naming of existing parameters. So we'll start up here with our initial one, our first one, and we'll actually change the parameters together. I think that'll make more sense rather than going through them twice. So we'll start here with the ID. So this is the ID of the target of this entity that we'll define with our target index, and this will help us recognize and set up events for when the target is found and then lost and found again through the application. So we're going to name this target A instead of just target, since there's going to be 2 of them. And down here we'll go ahead and name this entity ID target B. Alright, so now we'll take a look at the Mind AR image target. This is the index that I was referencing when we were looking at and creating the image target asset, where we wanted to take note of what order the images were added in from left to right, and it will count up, and that will be the index that will reference them. So the 0 image, the first one added on the left, was the building image of the KCAD, and that was target index 0, and we'll leave that for this one. And then this new one down here, we're going to change to the target index 1, which would be the KSpark logo that we put in. So we gave our unique entity IDs and then our unique image target indexes to load 2 separate image targets. Now we can move past down next into the A-video tag, which references a video tag that we set up in the assets up here. And for now, we're just going to change the source name. Instead of hashtag vid here, we'll change it to, how about vid A? And we'll change this to vid B. So we're keeping together with the target name A and B to make it easy to see and match. Now the parameters under the video, it is nice that we can individualize these. So we went through in the last video how the scale operation works to change the aspect ratio of the video. And this video, vid A, is going to be our initial 16:9 video over our initial 16:9 image target. But this one, even though the video is still 16:9, our target that KCAD, that K-Spark is more of a square, so I'm going to go ahead and set this to be square so it fills the entire target for this example, and just to show that you can independently control those, which is pretty cool. So that's the first of three kind of areas where we need to copy. We just need to copy the entire entity, which includes the video reference, and then rename the IDs to kind of increment them, increment these indexes to grab the different images, and then increment the names of the video, and then any individualized transform you'd want on the video. From there, we're going to move up and deal with our video initialization inside of the assets tag here. So as you might imagine, we're just going to copy the entire video tag here. Be sure to get the beginning through the end of the tag. Copy that. And then I'll hit return a couple times to give a space in between the two. Paste the new one in. Now, if we were doing 3 or 4 videos with image targets, we could just continue copying more, versions of first the entity, then the video, and then when we do some copying up here, for each new one, we'll just have a different set that kind of has its own parameters that all line up. So to continue with our example to show 2, I will start, and first we need to change the ID of the vid. Now this specifically matches what we labeled them down here. Okay, so this source kind of hashtag, whatever we put after that, is what's reading the ID parameter of these video tags that are being created. So we need to make sure that this one is going to be vid A, and then this one will be vid B, and that will match what we did down here to load these correct videos in the right spots. Now here in the source parameter is where we can load the actual video file. So if we go peek at our Finder and look in our example folder where we put our assets, we can remind ourselves that we named them Asset 1 and Asset 2. So I'll go back in here, and my first video, my vid A, that's going to be on the original KCAD building image target will be asset1.mp4, and then down here the other one that will go on to the K-Spark, that's the DLC video, will be the asset2.mp4. So that's what actually loads the correct videos in. The rest of these parameters can all stay the same, so we really just need to update the video ID and the source of which video we're actually loading. Okay, now at this point, if we tested it, it would load the first frame of the videos, but nothing would actually play. And that's because we're going to go up here into where we have the event and copy some lines of code here to make a case for each individual target recognizing which video is supposed to be playing and stopping depending on which target is recognized. So we're going to start out by being inside of this init function, and we're going to copy everything inside of this from lines 12 to 21 here, which is the beginning of this variable target, this constant target, ending at the end of this little target add event listener line here. So getting all of this, we're going to copy this, the cursor there, hit return a couple of times, and paste it all. So once again, we now have 2 separate individual lines of code, or areas of code. They're going to handle the 2 separate image and video pairs. So we'll start at the top here, and instead of just target and vid, we're going to have to name these target A and vid A, and we will select target A and vid A that we defined below. We might as well do the same thing to these. We'll change these newly pasted ones to target B and vid B. Those will load target B and vid B. Again, these target B and vid B with a little hashtag, those are what we were defining down here with our IDs, target A, vid A, target A, vid B. the source? Yes, the IDs we're setting here and here. And we're calling them from here and up here. Okay, so now that we have two separate areas kind of defining the tags that we're working with, now we need to change the actual event listeners. These are the events which listen for whether the target is recognized by the AR software or not. So instead of having two copies like this, we're going to have to change this to target A.add event listener, and we'll call it target A found. Or actually, no, we leave that target found. That is the name of the event that the AR framework uses. So we'll leave that. So we'll just change it to say target A, add event listener, and down here we'll change this to say vid A play. And we can move down here. This is also target A. This is two different events, listening for when the target is found and then listening for when the target is lost. So target A, we'll add the event listener, target lost, and we'll say vid A dot pause. And this is what makes the video play and pause according to as the target is found and lost. And finally, we'll go down here to our new pasted events and change this to target B. When the target is found, we will play vid B. And then for target B, when the target is lost, we'll play vid B. And that should do it. I'm going to go ahead and click File, Save, and we'll take a quick look at our work. We'll go down. We started at the bottom. We just made a copy of this entire entity tag, copied it down here, and just changed the source on the video, as well as the ID on the target and the index as well. And we went and copied this entire video asset where we're initializing our video, changed the ID as well as the source to the actual video. And then finally, we copied our entire kind of pair of event listeners here for target found and target lost, and made two different versions of those to work with both videos. So again, we could have more than two pairs of each of those three sections to have even more, but that's all you need to see how it works. So now that we have everything saved, I'm going to go ahead and go back into Adobe Animate and open this up. If this wasn't already opened in your Finder, you can go back and double click on this FLA file here to open it and animate for you. And now I'm just going to do the play movie test in the browser with Command Return or Control Enter. And here it is, it launched. You can see our local IP address here. And now I'm going to go ahead and try it out and see how this works. So here we are, and first off, I will try the initial one, and there we go. Launches this video.
Entertainment art.
Quite nice. And then here we are with the other image, and it grabs that one as well.
So, your shiny new face enveloped in the glow of...
So just like that, you're able to use more than one image target in a particular application with an accompanying video. In the next video, I'm going to show you a little bit more about finalizing the web app setup before we move to finally launch this and put your new application online.